Welcome to Making Awesome, Chapter 32, all about you guys and gals out there. It's 3D printing, the why and the what for. We're joined by Thomas and Justin. Everyone here is going to bring some interesting stuff to the table. Gents, introduce yourselves. We'll hit the billing department, and then, I don't know, we'll just get into it.
Oh my God. If you've been watching, you know me. I'm Thomas, graphic designer. I manage the brand at 3D Musketeers, and I work as an animator. That's everything. That's all I got.
And I'm Justin. I'm a high school student, and I work with 3D Musketeers as a junior design engineer. And I've been on a couple of podcasts before. I'm just talk about 3D printing.
And I'm Grant. You all know me by now. I don't think I need to do an intro. We're going to do intros for like the next few episodes because we know we're getting a lot of new people. So we want to make sure that people kind of know who everybody is so that when they're interacting with something like, are you that guy on the Yes. Yeah, I'm the guy on the podcast. We don't have to explain that anymore because they know. Anyways, this chapter is all about you all. So we put out some content this past week all about what 3D printers we like in different realms, and it did not hit the mark that I was expecting. And it's for a very good reason. And we had a few commenters that really explained that greatly, and I'm so thankful for you all. You all are what makes everything here possible at 3D Musketeers. And I guess I didn't hit the billing department. I went right into it. So let's hit the billing department. If you are looking to get something awesome made, if you have an idea, if you're an inventor, if you're a crafter, maker, and you want to level up what you're doing, but you're not necessarily ready to do it yourself, we at 3D Musketeers can help you. We take ideas from art to part with product development, spanning 3D printing, laser cutting, CNC milling, 3D design, and everything in between. We are here to do all kinds of awesome stuff. But this is not really about us. This is really all about you guys. It's on the best 3D printers explained video where it came up, and I kind of did a damn it, we missed this so much because it's the why. For myself, for Justin, for everybody here, a lot of why we 3D print and why we do it is completely intrinsic and known to us. But for a lot of our new watchers and even new people that are joining the 3D Musketeers group of people that make awesome, they don't necessarily know why and why they should be doing it. So we've got a couple of questions. I want to just review them, then let's hit it. We have one from, and I might butcher it, Ailish, Ailish. First off, she is so lovely. We have been emailing back and forth a few times. And that's one of the things that we do. If there's something that we have clearly missed the ball on and I want to have a further conversation, we'll say, hey, here's my email me. And her and I have had a couple of great emails, and she's really kind of helped us better understand it. But her comment is, this video, like the shorter, because it was the best 3D printers explained, so it was the longer version, answers the question which. I'm still at the why. I found you guys via the Cricut fiasco and use my cutter for card making. I'm curious about 3D printers, but I just don't know what my use case would be and why I should dedicate space to one in my small craft room. We've got Cardstock Collector said the same thing. Yes, we def need info on how to use / what for. And Allison Ford, God bless you, Allison. You are one of our just rock star subscribers that comments on everything and goes into the kind of detail that I love. I think Ailish and the others make, and I'm going to be so pissed if I'm butchering that name. I'm so sorry if I am. But they have a very good point for many of crafters that may have come to your channel from Cricut Craziness. Many of the crafters that I know tend to work more of a 2D way that could be potentially made into 3D designs by going, for example, like pop-up cards or mandala designs, which I had to look up, and they're crazy stacked paper designs. Holy crap, they're awesome. Oh my gosh, it's way more work than I'd ever want to put in. I would just swap filament colors. the alignment on mandala. I'm like, nope, 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 nope. Swap colors on a 3D printer so much faster. And they may not have a reason to want to look at 3D printing. Some things that I have heard about that crafters have purchased from people who do 3D printing are things like adapters for their Cricut to allow the machines to use various types of pens rather than Cricut brands. I've also heard that you can get 3D printed straw toppers, for example, Mickey Mouse. I guess there are a number of crafters that possibly would only require these things from time to time and therefore would rather pay for them than look at being able to produce them themselves. Plus, some people selling these types of things, and many crafters also tend to sell them at such a low price point that you would need to make and sell a lot of your own to make back the money on the printer. Phenomenal thing. We're going to get into that too. And that's a whole other annoyance. People not being able to charge for their time if they stand a chance of anyone wanting to purchase their makes. Not sure if you've come across the mandalas that people are making using their Cricut. They're usually multi-layered. I'm guessing you could 3D print these types of things, but not really sure. My engineering head thinks it would be possible to at least create the different colored layers and then glue them together if you can't produce them in any other way. Would it be possible? Also, for me, in the UK, and possibly the same worldwide, we don't have much in the way of holders and fixings available for displaying our makes, so 3D printing would solve that issue for me as a crafter. I have made tiles with vinyl decal welcome signs for family signs, but I have not come across any decent stands or ways of fixing the tiles to display them that look good and match the quality of the make. Being able to 3D print a stand that complements would be ideal. To encourage crafters to up their game to 3D printing could be very tough, as crafting space is generally very limited, and adding another tool to that space has to be planned and feel worthwhile. We have some of the best subscribers. I just want to put that out there, that someone would take the time to not just write it out. I respond, because I always do. I always respond to people's comments. That's just who I am and what I do. But even then, to go through all that effort, right? Allison comments on all of our videos, and she just genuinely gives a damn. And that's what I love about the community that we have here. People just really do care. And without these kind of comments, our channel will never grow. It's going to die without it, because we don't necessarily know how to reach the new market, right? We didn't plan for almost 900 subscribers to come on effectively overnight and us immediately have to shift focus for what we were doing. And clearly, we didn't take the easiest, well, we didn't take the right path. I think we took a pretty easy path. Well, no, we didn't, because we hired editors. We didn't just slam edit. We're doing it on a level that is costing way more money than I'd like it to. But if you're going to stand out in a sea of everybody else, you kind of have to have something that's better. We think our content's pretty darn good, but we're also going to have to ensure that our editing, that our audio, that everything else matches the expectations. So there's that. But yeah, so I guess let's start off with Eilish. Eilish, maybe A-I-L-I-S-H. Thomas, any idea on that one?
Wait, one more time.
A-I-L-I-S-H.
I would just pronounce it like, yeah, Eilish.
Eilish? Okay, Eilish.
Yeah.
I like it.
I think. I don't know.
Last name Eklof. E-K-L-O-F. That is her YouTube thing. I'm not, like, trying to dox someone. Hopefully I'm not actually doxing. I don't think I am, because that's what shows up on YouTube.
Comments public.
Yeah, comments public. But, yeah, when I saw that, I'm like, oh, damn it. We really just completely missed the ball on that, and somebody didn't stop the microwave before it finished. Sorry about the beeping. But tried to talk over it, couldn't talk over it. Oh well, here we are. When that comment hit, I'm like, damn it. We missed something. And I kind of want to go over things because Thomas is just kind of bristling on the surface of 3D printing. Justin, you live at home still. So not only are you a 3D printer, but you're 3D printing in a family, in a household. Right, so your use case, while also to make cool stuff for yourself, also looks at how you can support the family via methods of 3D printing or what have you. So, Thomas, what has been your why other than making memes? So like as an artist, where do you see 3D printing being very valuable? And it's something that maybe if you've overlooked it, and for what reasons?
I don't know. I feel like, well, here's the thing. Like, if you're looking at getting a 3D printer, especially one on the cheaper end, like a Prusa Mini or something, quality, but
Affordable.
more accessible, affordable. If you're looking at doing something like that, which is probably what I would end up doing, it's more about kind of like, it's not about making money to me, and that's not why I would get a 3D printer. I don't plan to sell things. I don't plan to like, as of now, I don't plan to make 3D printed objects that I can prototype and then sell them or sell the design files or anything. That's not really my thing. But what I have found, and through Tad doing printing stuff too, is just kind of like I don't know, having it's cool in the first place. There's a lot of convenience involved with like replacing objects in your house quickly. I mean, relatively than like driving out to a store, buying something for more money. And there's like a sense of like, I don't know, it's such a direct translation from your computer to the real world in such a cool way. And I think it's like a brain exercise, right? Because I make stuff in 3D. I'm a 3D designer, but visual designer, not a engineer or structural kind of person or function at all.
Right.
But if I'm designing something and I have to be 3D printed, it's a different skill, because now this thing has to be actually possible to print. I mean, it's like, I don't know, it's a good brain exercise creatively. And I think if you were trying to get into more 3D stuff, I mean, I do mostly 2D and I've worked almost in 2D my whole life, but going into 3D, I don't know, there's something really cool about having a tangible object.
It is. So. Yeah. There's nothing like it. A good example, at least for that, yesterday we had over an entire group of people from Florida Polytechnic that are working on upgrading one of our 3D printers. And we quickly realized that they came completely unprepared. Now, it's not their fault. There are some things they couldn't know until they saw the machine. But we needed to prototype things fast. We CAD'd, we printed, we installed, all in the same day. And there were certain times where, oops, we didn't measure something appropriately or it wasn't perfectly aligned, so we had to then go to the laser cutter, cut out some shims out of wood, and it was amazing to see, because like it's not often that we'll use multiple technologies, and it's seldom that we're needing something immediately here, because I plan.
I would say that's, if I was a crafter, or I'm a maker in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. The way I would use it as part of my practice would be like little convenient things, right? Or maybe Gigi Faye has that frame that she made. So like it's cool stuff like that. She 3D printed her business cards. She's a great example of kind of like interesting things on that front, that it's kind of 2D, but it is a 3D object.
And I will say, as someone who used to 3D print their business cards, holy crap, they take a long time. You can do that, and it's a great way to stand out. Me, I'm laser cutting every time, but I have the access to it. And when I don't
know. It's like, how do you combine it now? Maybe that's your thing. Right. Maybe suddenly you're like, oh, I'm going to print all these little 3D parts, and then I'm going to apply vinyl to them.
That's what I was thinking, and there was part of me that was very much on how can that transition be very natural, right? Because it isn't necessarily a very natural transition to make, going from a Cricut, Silhouette, or a Brother, or whatever it might be, over to a 3D printer, because it is a completely different school of thought. You're no longer just working in Illustrator or Inkscape or something like that. You now are forced into new systems. And if we do release this podcast on Thursday, which I think I'm gonna kind of plan to do from now on, that will you will have already seen that live stream, hopefully, and I haven't screwed it up, all about intro to 3D design. But if we release it before Thursday, which we might end up doing, who the hell knows at this point, we're still figuring out the content schedule, I'm sorry. We have a live stream Thursday or Wednesday. Jeez, Grant, get your stuff together here. Wednesday the 21st at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. or Eastern time. We're in daylight savings. I don't know. 6 p.m. Eastern. All about intro to 3D modeling, where we're going to be pimping out my cane with some really interesting parts. But that's because I have a cane. And I think it was right when we started talking about my disability and talking about the cane that a lot of people came out of the woodwork and say, oh, I need a cane too. And this would be a really cool thing. There's your reason to get a 3D printer, right? Yes, it's $400 for a Prusa Mini, but what is your comfort worth? Right? I'm sitting in a desk chair that costs more than a Prusa Mini, and it's absolutely worth it.
I would even say, I don't know, like I said earlier, I'm not trying to make money with 3D printing. Not even, I don't even think about paying the printer
for personal use
by buying one. Yeah. Like, I don't know, people make those really cool 3D printed faces, like all sorts of things. I don't know. It's fun to have, I feel like, and it's a creative outlet. You know, in my case, it's just a creative outlet. And I'd also say, don't be too worried about 3D design. 3D design starts as 2D stuff getting extruded.
It's totally
just
true.
Giving it depth. That's it. And that's like already magical if you pull that off. So like once you do that,
it's going to be so interesting for me to see how quickly we can get some of these makers into 3D modeling, because their mind already works kind of the way that it needs to. I came from a background of business, right? Engineering, I kind of just picked up along the way. So when I learned CAD, oh my gosh, it was difficult, because my brain is like, I want a cube, right? I don't want to just draw an outline and then extrude it. That did not, the gears were not meshing, okay? Our teeth alignment was just not there. There was too much backlash. It was bad. But once I figured it out, it was like a light switch flicked in my head, and now I can envision what things look like in CAD. It's a little crazy, but once you figure that, it makes it easy. And I think Tinkercad kind of offers that in between, where you don't necessarily need to know how to do CAD, but you can still design something. Yeah, it's rudimentary, but it kind of gets the job done. Justin's a little bit different than Thomas and I. Justin still lives at home. So Justin has 3D printers, right? Multiples. You have two.
One.
Just the Mini?
Just the Mark III.
Where's the Mini stuff coming from that I see you putting on Twitter?
I don't think Justin's putting Mini stuff on
not
Twitter.
Me. I think that might be Brad.
Okay. Well, no.
I don't know.
Somebody was doing Mini with a palette, and I thought it was you.
No.
Well, then someone's got an icon on Twitter that looks surprisingly like your icon on Discord. That's all I gotta say.
Probably.
And now I'm a little upset, because I had a whole thing going into that. But oh well. Because I'm like, wait, he says he only has one printer, but I just sent him the bed for a Mark III. Did you have that, by the way? Did you get that?
Yeah, I got it yesterday.
Okay.
My God.
We bulk order from Prusa because it is way easier and it costs less in shipping, and then I'll just direct ship to everybody on the staff. But anyways, Justin, your use case is a little bit different, right? Thomas would use stuff for himself around the house, maybe to visualize something that he's working on, so you can get a better idea of what it might look like when it's final. But you've got folks to deal with, and you've got family members to deal with, so siblings. So how does that work, and how have you seen being I don't like calling it a kid maker, a young adult maker in all of this? How does it affect how your family looks at problems?
Yeah, like totally. So both my little brother and my dad, they're super into baseball cards, and they post them on eBay all the time. And it's hard to photograph them because it's in like a shiny case most of the time. They're really hard to take pictures of. So, and the stands they're all little rinky dink little things that always fall over. They're not good. So I was like, all right, I'll design one up for you guys so you guys can take pictures of the cards without them falling over all the time. And that was a really good that was a really good example of everyone in my family being able to pretty much work on something, because I would show them the design and my brother was like, oh, maybe tilt it a little bit farther back so you get less of a reflection. And then I ended up printing out. I printed out a couple different kinds, and we decided on one and printed a bunch of them. So that was one of the most recent examples that I was able to work with my family on something in 3D printing.
Now, did you see a shift in thought process once you got the printer? Because like my father does this to me, and it's like could we 3D print this? I'm like, could I or should I? He finally gave me a project that I think is absolutely perfect for 3D printing. I have it right here. And my dad is so awesome. Like, he even printed out, like, dimensions, even though he gave me the real thing. But this is a holder for a outdoor light. And he has, like, 15 of these at his house. They're made of metal and they're rusting. He's not really near the coast, but I don't know. They're not made to handle the sun and the water in Florida. So I'm going to rebuild this out of plastic. And it's theoretically, as long as it doesn't get kicked, should last a lot longer. That's a really great use for it. But like he has mesh Wi-Fi in his house and he wanted to mount them. He said, could you 3D print this? I found the model. I'm like, yeah. He's like, what would it cost? I said, retail on this is like 35. He said, oh, I can get a 3-pack for 15 on Amazon. I said, do that. I mean, yeah, I could 3D print it and it will, you know, my cost will be less than 15. But you could go get an off-the-shelf component instead for, in 2 days or less, for half the price. Like, yeah. There's a certain thing. Did you see something like that when you got your Mark 3S and people are going on this 3D print all the things versus 3D print what actually makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, even personally, I went on that 3D print all the things
we all
kick.
Do that. Yeah, we
all
do.
And I would go and print everything from Thingiverse and Prusa printers and whatnot when I could see something that could be useful, like an Xbox controller holder. I mean, like those, I already had like a charger. Like, why did I need it? I didn't. And then then I ended up seeing that there were actual use cases that I needed 3D printing because I talked about this before, I think on the first podcast that I was on, that
Link
a shelf
in the
broke.
description for that. Mark that down so I remember to do that, please. You had a shell break?
Yeah, shelf broke
Shelf.
and fell. Yeah. And like I couldn't find the little bracket anywhere. It's almost like a pegboard, so you can raise and lower the shelves inside.
Oh, like a kitchen cabinet?
Yeah,
where
in
it's
a
got
kitchen
those
cabinet.
metal pins or something?
Yep.
Yep.
And they were little plastic ones that have been there for who knows how long. And I modeled it within 15 minutes. It was one of the very first projects that I actually designed myself. Within 15 minutes, designed it in Fusion, printed it out, and had it within 30 minutes. And I didn't need to go buy 100-pack of them that I might not have been able to even find from a normal retailer.
You know, and this is kind of interesting because I think answering the why is very difficult overall. Because the why for everyone's going to be a little bit different. And in your particular use case, your why was probably not all that clear when you bought the printer. You're like, I just want this. It's cool. Maybe you had the money. Maybe it was some birthday, holiday money, whatever, and you got it. But when you figured out that use case, I have a feeling your folks had a big breath of relief saying, oh God, he's not just going to print memes and Dogecoins on it. Awesome. That makes me feel good. And I think that's kind of the thing. You have to say, could I use this? And the way I look at it, if you are a crafter or a maker out there that's looking and saying, why? Look at everything around you. Do you have a family? Do you have a significant other? Have they talked to you about 3D printing? I know one of our commenters said, my husband's mentioned 3D printing to me a few times. And I'm like, he's giving you a hint. As someone that doesn't see hints, I could see that hint. He wants a 3D printer. And see, if you get a 3D printer for your things and you let him use it, all of a sudden now it's a cool thing and now you could it becomes a family thing, right? My parents have, now that they're kind of understanding, my dad presented a topic to me that's very clearly perfect for 3D printing. He could go and buy new lights, but the ground spike is fine. The light itself is totally fine. It's the freaking clip thing. And they're all breaking. That's one of the ones that hasn't fully broken. It's rusting, but it hasn't fully broken. So it is about finding that need. And I think I'm pretty comfortable with this because I want to do more live streams. But if you have a need and you're not certain if it's good for 3D printing and you're listening to this, I want you to email us, info@3dmusketeers.com. We'll have links to that in the description as well. And I want you to send me, because I'm the one that will respond to you. Yes, for those of you that have tested whether or not it's actually me, it is me. I respond to the emails. Maybe we should probably end up doing a YouTube specific, like YouTube at 3dmusketeers.com. That wouldn't be bad. Remind me to do that. Maybe we'll change the link from info to YouTube. Email will be in the description, all right? Bear with me on this. We don't edit these podcasts. I just get ideas as we're moving through it. But, I want to show that 3D printing can solve a problem. And if it can't, or it's not viable, then we can go through that conversation and try to figure out what could be. We have a subscriber that reached out because they wanted, their kid loves mini cupcakes. Who doesn't love mini cupcakes, right? The little bite-sized cupcakes. The problem that they're having is even when they're baking them in a silicone mold, you can't get cupcake paper that size. So you're baking them without the cupcake paper. And for cupcakes to release effectively, they need that paper, even in silicone. So she said, I'm losing like well over 50% of them. And it's just frustrating. She said, it's one of the easiest problems to have, right? I can just eat the ones that don't come out, but it's still a problem. And so not this week, but next week's live stream, because I'm going to try to do these weekly if I can get the time. We're going to go through and actually design that. And I'm going to try to make it so she can be on with us and we can go through it back and forth. That back and forth is what makes live streams so awesome, right, Thomas? Right? Yeah. Like from a branding standpoint, having the person that asked the question on there is kind of cool. Right? Yeah. He's shaking his head yes for all of those that are audio only.
That just makes sense to me. I don't even think it's a branding thing. I think it's just a fun thing.
Well, and then I'm not talking to myself the whole time. Which, don't get me wrong, I could do all damn day. Or the cat. She's just not here right now. She's off doing very important cat marketing and HR things. So I'm sure she's busy.
I'm also going to interject here and just say, I'm just going to like re-hammer this point home. There's a lot of things that I think we all buy that have absolutely no real utility and may never have real utility. A 3D printer, in this sense, to me, is like, will it have utility for me? It definitely has the capability and possibility to give me a lot of utility, but do I need it to? No. I could just make fun stuff that I like on it, and that's totally okay. There's no need to be like productive or make things that are like incredibly useful. Like that's not a prerequisite to having a printer. Like what if you did just want to make little figures because you like them? Or what if you did just want to like, just make little extruded objects like of text or whatever just to have them, or that's a super fine way to use this machine.
Yep.
But you also do have the opportunity then to just do a bunch of other stuff. It's there, but don't let like the utility and like the everything about that stop you from just being like, this is just be a fun toy to some people.
Don't turn utility into futility.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yep.
Is that right? I hope it's correct. Because I said and it's out there.
I'm running it through. I'll figure it out later. I'll think about it. But I don't know. I'm just, like in that case, it's like, I don't know. Think about it this way. Like you could buy a new game console for the amount of money, probably less. I don't know. In some cases, less or more. 3D printer sits right in the realm, the Mini specifically, fits right in the realm of buying a game console. So now it's kind of like, okay, fun thing. And that could be it for you. And that's awesome. But you might also discover along the way that it could be part of your practice. And that's really cool too.
Yeah, and like I look at this as, and like you said, it's very much a support mechanic right now. And if you find a huge benefit for it, you can. So if you are running an Etsy store, and let's cover that next, but if you're running an Etsy store and you are trying to take unique photos, the same way that Justin was talking about, you can utilize 3D printing to make those little things that you want. Eilish talked about in her email, she's huge into calligraphy and pens. She showed me a pen rack that someone built with pens on. She said the pens on this rack are worth almost $2,000. The rack was lime green and looked like a samurai sword rack. She said, this is not what I want in this industry. She said, this is not how I buy a 3D printer. Would I love a rack to display my pens? Absolutely. But do I want it to look like this? No. She said all they had to do was take 5 freaking minutes to sand it, paint it, and it would look so much better. I'm like, you are absolutely right. There's a certain category of person out there that just prints because they can. And I'm going to put that out there to all of you newbies that have just bought 3D printers. You're just printing crap because you can. Did you really need a samurai sword holder for your pens? No. Quite frankly, the ones that hold the pens vertically are way cooler in my mind, and it keeps the nibs from drying out if they're calligraphy style pens. So, you know, don't at me. But like that, she said, this is the kind of stuff that I see in my industry, and it bothers me because this is not utility. This is stupidity. And she's right. I can't agree more with her. The one thing she did bring up was like Warhammer and tabletop stuff, and that is so awesome for 3D printing.
I guess as far as like, I'm gonna take a back step on samurai sword holder for pens. Here's my thing. Who gives a fuck if they want to put their pens on a samurai sword holder that they printed?
But lime green though, like don't get me wrong. I love lime green parts.
Here's my thing. It's like, it's their stuff. Who cares? Like, go for it.
It just feels like the guy that 3D prints the wing and sticks it on the back of his Honda as a joke. It's like,
even that one. I'm like, why not?
Yeah,
like, go for it. It sounds fun to me.
Justin's like, where is that on Prusa printers? I'm putting it on my car.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, if you're going through the phase of print all that stuff, lean into it.
Oh, totally lean into it. I don't disagree, but if you're looking for use case scenarios for 3D printing, allow yourself to understand that the first, like, 3 months of owning a 3D printer, that honeymoon stage, is very much 3D print all the dumb crap I can. And so give people a bit of a pass, right? If you see the lime green samurai sword holder and you're like, oh. See... Exactly, Justin. He's got a big middle finger that says 2020 on it. That's great. That's great.
I love that.
Underage, showing that stuff off.
Couldn't
have chosen something
underage more about a middle finger.
I mean, I don't know. Yes, big freaking Benchy boats. For what reason? Boat. Dustin, do you even know what the Benchy's used for?
To benchmark the printer.
Okay, but what is benchmarkable on the printer? Or on the boat?
The overhang from here, the bridging, the text in the back, the holes, the dimension of there's a little cube you can print.
Okay, Justin's right. The answer is everything. Everything on the boat is dimension.
That's why he's the Benchy. I even have a Benchy boat.
I was just checking to see if he did it because of the meme. Oh, okay. I'm getting handed my big Benchies. Okay. See, these are different than normal Benchies. This one's fallen and broken. But they both have dinosaurs in them, first off. But I want to point out, look at those layer lines.
Thick.
Yeah, they're 1 millimeter thick Benchies.
3 C's on that thick.
Give me a second. I'm going to weigh. The yellow one is definitely heavier. I've got a scale down here because the scale doesn't fit on my desk.
But I mean, like, I don't know. I'm a person that I like things. I like little 3D. I like objects. I have a lot of figurines just because I like them. I like touching them and stuff. You know, I don't know. I like having stuff on my desk. So to me, like, printing that kind of stuff is great because now I have a thing that I didn't have. I don't know. I think there's like a power trip, you know?
128 grams.
So like $3.
Oh yeah, yeah. But this is when you have a 1.2 millimeter diameter, and like you can see how bad oh god, it doesn't like the yellow. The black is a little dusty. Let's see if it likes the black. Yeah, you can see the quality ain't great, but it ain't bad either for a Benchy. I'm not showing those. Thank you.
You have to.
My brother brought me our.
We know they're here now. We have to see them.
No.
No shame. Let's see them.
No, he's not coming on. But he brought over the ukulele and the electric violin that we've 3D printed. Both of which have sustained damage in the past bit. The violin is missing a string. Literally made that for no valid reason other than we had a retail shop and we thought it would look cool. And it all came to fruition when we had a professional violinist come in and they asked what I wanted to hear. And of course, the only answer is the solo from The Devil Went Down to Georgia. And good lord, did she knock that thing out of the park. It sounded like garbage because even with the amplifier and everything, they don't sound very good, 3D printed violins. But it was still really cool. And the next day, she brought in her $15,000 carbon fiber electric violin.
Cool.
So things,
like, whenever
way off topic,
people,
but still interesting.
Yeah, whenever people know I play cello, they're like, "Oh, you have to play that one Bach one where that everyone saw in like a few commercials a while ago," and it's like, okay. You always have to have the one that you know people are going to ask on hand to play.
And that's fair. I don't disagree. I wish I could play an instrument and it would be the saxophone.
You could play an instrument and you can. You're just not.
I need to buy a saxophone. That's the problem.
You could rent a saxophone.
I could rent
lessons.
a saxophone, but I also recognize how rental businesses work, and I'm just going to buy a saxophone. Also, COVID is kind of gross. I don't want somebody else's dirty, nasty saxophone. Although I would buy a secondhand saxophone, but I have means to clean them, so I would do that. But no, then I could pretend I'm Duke Silver.
I thought you were Duke Silver, so this is a revelation to me. I'm going to be completely honest. I'm shocked.
It's okay. Nobody.
Yeah, I'm going to use this. I'm going to use this as a moment for a little pep talk. You can do and learn anything you want. You just aren't doing it. Like Grant's not playing a musical instrument. So Grant, I don't ever want to hear you say you can't, because you can. I just want to hear I'm not.
Oh yeah, I'm not. Before, see, there's two different paths I'm going to go for music. It's either going to be to learn an actual instrument, and if it's going to be something, it's going to be a saxophone, or I'm going to build a musical Tesla coil so I can have musical lightning, and then I'll learn the keyboard.
I think the second one's better.
I kind of like the fact that it was like, I'm going to build a musical Tesla coil, except the qualifier is that I still have to learn how to play piano.
No, I really not. I just need a program that can convert songs into MIDI. So I don't have to. I already know how to build Tesla coils. I've done that before, been there, done that, gotten the t-shirt. Musical ones, I haven't done a big musical one. If I'm gonna do it, I've even got the pipes to do it. I just haven't. Anyways, that's a talk for another day. But yes, Thomas is completely right. If you want to, you can. And if you're saying, I want a 3D printer, but I need to justify it, look elsewhere. Look at, your household. Are you living alone? Are you living with others? Do you have things like a shelf that might be broken? Do you have a part on your car that might be broken? Do you have, things that you wish were a little bit different? Organizers for glasses, not eyeglasses, although you could do eyeglasses, but like wine glasses or drinking glasses. Parts for your dishwasher, although those have to be made out of ABS or a high temp material, unless you don't use heated dry. Like, I don't use heated dry. It's ridiculous. I have hard water, too. Anyways, there are so many uses. You just have to be able to say, yeah, I can 3D print that.
Or
and remember,
maybe you just want a trophy that says I'm enough. And you can just have that at your bedside.
Yes. If you need that kind of pick me up, please.
That's a good justification to me.
Yeah.
That's a good justification. So whatever Justin prints from now on is a justification. So
I'm just gonna end it here.
Nice.
No, I love it because there are a lot of industries where, and I think who was it? Allison said it, and I want to roll into this issue of, we want them to level up and get 3D printers because it can help them grow their business, but a lot of them are on Etsy. And Etsy started as a great place for makers to really sell their wares, meet other makers, help each other out, do a thing, and all that. But it's become the same thing that every freaking online platform turns into. Who can be the cheapest? And so you have to stand out somehow. And so if you're competing right now on price with things you are in 3D printing, you can utilize a 3D printer to make your images look better, to make your products look better, to have mounts. Like the mount that I am using for my camera right now is 3D printed. And without it, I could not have my camera inside of a ring light. You can do things like, and I am not using a webcam, right? Literally my webcam is right here. I'm not using a webcam. I'm using a camcorder. Camcorders do not natively mount to ring lights. Not without 3D printed parts. With 3D printed parts, they easily do. That's the kind of stuff where you can level up and do something that your competitors, at least on the low end scale, aren't. And so you can start raising your prices and play with some of the big dogs. And if you are a big dog, you should hopefully already be looking at 3D printing as a way to expand your product line. Right? Because the more things you offer, the less places people have to go to buy stuff. Right? If I can do everything here and you don't have to go to Sally or Jim or whoever it is down the road or you know, in another Etsy listing, I'm going to. Even if it costs me a little bit more money to work with just one person, me personally, I would prefer to work with a singular individual. You know, then there's fewer chances of failure. I have a single point of contact. So if you can be that single point of contact, you've got an opportunity here. But the why still has to be you. And we're gonna do like an official video on this too, because I think I need to do some more research and cover it effectively, like properly. That one's probably gonna be a glasses off video, so I can really like hone in on the camera and not like have it be nothing but lighting that everybody sees. Oh,
you know,
actually, that's not
what
that
might
bad.
be interesting. I think what could be cool is I feel like a lot of these crafters probably are more in line with stuff that like Billy's making. And I think it would be interesting to maybe get Billy's opinions in some way snuck into that video, because she kind of bridges that gap a lot of the time.
She really does. And Billy,
She's a cameo.
that's going to be hard. Billy is so busy these days.
Quick, like, you know, just be like, could you do a little spot, like a quick little record?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
like,
ask
oh,
her.
why did you get?
Yeah, or just be like, how are you using different materials, particularly what would be widely considered 2D craft materials, and how are they integrated with 3D objects?
I mean, here's a great example. She actually just did a live stream where she was building a home for a possum. Now, for all of you Americans that are like, oh, why would I want to do that? Go look up an Australian possum and
They're
then come back.
far cuter.
They are far cuter,
but
and they make way more noise.
Look, our possums, let me be honest. Our possums would kick Australian possums' asses, and it's one of the only animals from the U.S. that could kill any animal in Australia. And our possums are scrappy, okay?
Yeah.
So I have more respect for our possums, even though the other ones look cuter.
I mean, let's be real. That's kind of the way the United States is, all right? We're scrappy. We may not be the best looking country in the world, you know, because of obesity.
Except for the fact that we're home of Hollywood and LA and one of the largest music industries in the world.
Okay, but I can pack enough silicone into something and make it look good too, all right? I can vacuum out the things I don't like, add silicone to the things I do, and all of a sudden I'm Justin Bieber.
That's just a whole different conversation. I'm just laying it down how it
I mean,
is.
yes, you're not wrong. The United States does have that, but we also have a massive obesity problem.
I also think everyone in the world's really attractive and pretty. So
I mean, it is true.
Just flat.
It is true.
That's it.
And I'm still bummed that none of us got an invite to the funeral for Prince Charles. Just very, very upset about that. No comments on that. All right. Cool.
You're the only upset one then here.
Well,
sounds like a lot of work.
I mean, only 30
I'd have to buy a ticket.
If you had the opportunity to go to that, wouldn't you?
No.
Really?
I got better things to do. I could go eat a sandwich or something.
Oh, that's a moment in history for me that I would want to go be a part of. But nonetheless, only 30 people were going. But yeah, it's a thing. I look at this and say, you have to be the one that decides. And I think it's even easier if you've got a significant other that's very much a maker themselves, someone that likes to work with their hands. Maybe they're, if your significant other changes their own oil, I'm going to hedge a bet they're going to love 3D printing. If you have a kid that's in school, going to hedge a bet they're going to love 3D printing. If you play video games, you're probably going to love 3D printing. But if you don't have any of that, and you're just doing this all as a hobby, 3D printing may actually not be for you. And that's totally okay. And if you don't know if it's for you, a great idea is to say, you know what? I've got it. I've got something that I want. Email us. It's in the description, right? It's in the description even if you're audio only. It's going to be in the description. You're going to be able to reach out to us, and if it's something that's actually doable, we're going to do it. And let me rephrase, doable that I can do, because yeah, I don't know.
I would also say, like, you know, like, I think a way that I always test the waters for something that I'm interested in or want to try is, we got the internet, man. Watch a ton of videos of someone doing it, and then
watch
see
our
if you're,
videos of me doing it,
and then see if you're interested in actually going through in that process. And if there's parts that are like, I don't want to do that, then you're starting to realize that you might just either like watching it, and you don't actually want to do it. You know, you'll figure it out. But that's a really good test for me personally. If I want to get into something, I just start watching a ton of stuff about it.
I think that's perfect, honestly. You know, make sure that you have the ability to try it out before you buy, right? Get a part made from somebody, talk to somebody. You can talk to me. If you email us, when I email you back, you have my direct contact information. It's in my signature. So you can just call me, set up a meeting, and we can talk about this, and we can kind of decide how you want to move forward, help you out. Because like a lot of people that call us, we had someone that called us that wanted to make a bumper for a Nissan Silvia S15. It's a $400 bumper that they can buy. It would be like a $3,000 3D print because they're huge. It's a bumper for a freaking car. I'm not going to 3D print that.
I've seen some pretty impressive 3D prints lately, just by I think it's Willow on Twitter. She's a cosplayer. God, what's her name? She 3D printed her whole upper body in one print.
Damn.
There was a really
she did
cool
her
print
arms separately though. Anyway, yeah, sorry, Justin.
There's a really cool print that I saw.
Gotta be Willow Creative.
That's her. Yep.
Oh,
What'd you see, Justin?
It was a giant bedside table that someone did. They did an end top.
Nice.
And then, so it was all generative design, the bedside table, and then they got it printed out of Peak. Don't ask how much that is.
A lot.
It was given to them for free.
Peak is stupidly expensive and requires a very high-end 3D printer.
It was from the only company that can pretty much do it right now.
There are tons of companies that can print Peak.
That big.
Oh, right.
So, I would say, but if you're interested and you guys are on Twitter and you want to see someone who's doing there's actually a few people we can shout out that are doing some pretty interesting things with 3D printing and crafting, respectively. Willow Creative, she's really cool. I mean, obviously, I feel like we always
_ by the way.
Yeah, I feel like we always shout out, but I'll do it every time. Willow Creative's really great. Billy Rubin, really great. Geeky Faye, super awesome. They all kind of do dabble. I think Faye a little less, but she has, because she does cosplay stuff too. That kind of stuff is them, merging those worlds. So if you're interested in like go see what other people are doing. And then you might start to get inspired and understand where it fits with what you want to make, I feel like that's also a thing that I do quite a bit.
I'm looking at Willow's Twitter right now, and yeah, she's got a big freaking Delta printer, and that's kind of the trick with Deltas. Deltas are really, really, really bad starter printers. In my opinion, CNC is going to disagree with me, but I think they're poor starter printers because they're very technical to get rolling.
Well, I was going to say she's
unlimited height.
She's in no way a beginner.
No,
clearly.
No.
And so what I'm trying to say is more just like, these are people who are examples of people already doing it, who know what they're doing and are integrating 3D printing into their daily practice of what would typically be either fabric or, all those other things, So she's doing it. She's really great.
She's got 3D printers. She's got looks like she has an X-Carve or a Shapoko, CNC Miller, and she just got a little laser cutter.
Yeah, God, she's just got about everything, and she also does low, I guess I don't want to call it low level, but she does simple robotics.
Yep. Simple
and electronics. Yeah, and like she's good. She does so many things. She impresses me to no end.
Oh, and the 3D scanning setup, and I don't know if it's hers or if it's somebody else's. Guess I can click on it and find out.
I would bet it's someone else's. I don't think you would need 3D scanning that often in that level of setup, you know. But maybe she does.
It looks like well over 100 Raspberry Pis set up in it.
It's a big one.
That's a big one.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And that is like, we used to work with a facility that had an 80-something DSLR Canon camera array. And just the noise when all those cameras would go off at once was phenomenal.
Nice.
But she's doing resin printing. She's doing FDM 3D printing. She's doing laser cutting, doing CNC milling. So, a phenomenal cosplayer. If you are into cosplaying and you're not 3D printing, you're doing yourself a disservice.
They make some really impressive stuff. I saw a guy make a Hylian shield from Zelda the other day, and he printed it not full, like the whole thing at the end of the day is like full size, like a big old shield.
Okay.
But he printed it in separate pieces, which is a total fair way to go. And then he just stuck them together, and now he's just, you know, taking out the creases and the seams. But it looked great, you know, and he just printed it in pieces and just kind of figured out how to do that.
I would show the part that I'm working on that we're doing that, but I can't. We have an NDA surrounding it. But there are some really cool methods on finishing parts. And if you want a part finished, if you send us a file that, you know, it's like one of your, hey, I'd really like to use 3D printing for this, and you want it finished, let me know. That might be something we turn into a video. This part would be so cool to turn into a video, but I just can't. But we would love to turn that kind of thing into a video because we know so many of you out there, again, are looking for a why and a what for. Hence, you know, the title, 3D printing, the why and the what for.
The time lapses we put out last week had really cool finished parts that we did.
It did, but I didn't record any of the finishing.
That's okay.
Mainly because I wasn't the one doing it.
I'm gonna dig a hole and I'm gonna throw you in it, Grant, and I'm gonna forget about you.
Just throw me away with the trash.
That's how I feel.
Trash, Thomas.
I'm gonna put you in a dumpster.
Do I feel the same way?
I'm going to 3D print a dumpster and put you in it.
I mean, there are prints out there for that. I'm just gonna let you know. There are printed dumpsters with the flaps and all.
And occasionally the fire.
And occasionally the fire. That's right.
I'll 3D print the fire. And I will light you on fire.
Gasoline and light it. No,
because that's not how we do things here, Grant.
No, everything 3D printed. You're gonna bury me with 3D printers.
I'm 3D printed. You're 3D printed. And Justin, you didn't know this? You're 3D printed.
If we're going to be very specific about it, I guess that all depends on how you consider childbirth.
Oh, really weird 3D printing. That's biological 3D printing.
That exists too, but not in that stage yet. Eventually, someone's going to print a clone, and there's going to be a lot of controversy around it, and it's going to be a thing. But, I mean, we've done clones before. We've cloned the sheep and a few other things, but never humans.
So that's different than printing, and I would definitely fun puzzle, though. Stick all those organs together and stuff. Be crazy.
You know, have all the proper chemicals to, you know, allow it to grow and not die.
Yeah.
There's some dude in a lab, like a Dexter-style lab, just going at it, right? Trying to figure it out. If I can just figure out this one protein chain, I can do it. I don't know. That's what I imagine the person sounds like.
I feel like we should definitely get everyone 3D scans, and then we should make 3D prints out of them.
In full color sandstone.
I've done this. I've scanned myself plenty of times. I've never and will never 3D print myself. Never gonna do it. I already have an identical twin. I don't need another copy.
Well, if you don't do it, I'll do it. I'll print
yourself.
you.
Yeah, do you have an iPhone, Thomas?
Yeah.
Yep, I've done it before. I've scanned my head.
It's easy. Yeah. Set the phone on something, get into a spinny chair, and then just slowly spin. It'll take a pretty decent 3D scan of you.
Getting a photo scan is like so easy. Surprisingly, it's not hard.
I will say I'm an Android and Windows fanboy. iPhones have really got it right with some of that tech. And Billy was literally going through this yesterday in her Discord all about, because she needs a new phone. She didn't want to do a Pixel because the Pixels are limited to 128 gigs of storage, and I guess she burns through that very quickly. Like a 30-minute video for her fills up a phone storage. So I think she's recording in 4K. But
I will continue to ask people, I'm sorry, unless, even if you release your video in 4K and you upload it to YouTube, how many people was that worth it for? Like,
right.
Not enough. Even some people with 4K monitors don't even hook it up with like the right cables to make it true 4K. So like
VGA.
no one's actually watching anything on the internet in 4K except for like less than 10% of people on the internet.
I feel like filming in 4K is good though, because you can crop in more.
Bingo. That's exactly what I was going to say. Linus Tech Tips made this argument, and it made a lot of sense. And this is great for people out there that are looking to do, content creation around their making. Film in the highest resolution you can if you're expecting to crop in. So Linus Tech Tips films at 12K. 12K resolution. Thomas, that's multiple gigabytes per second.
I know. This is my job. Remember, Grant? This is what I do for a living.
It blows my mind that you can. It's like, just you can hear how much data it's.
Yeah.
But their cameras are, the bodies are $40,000, but because that's what they do for a living, if they crop in 4x on a 12K image, they're still at more than 1080p. So it still looks great. So they don't need to actually do a rack shot where they're actually zooming. They can digitally do it in post. And that is awesome. Something I'm eventually going to get to. We have a 4K camera coming, but it's an action cam style. So maybe we use it, maybe we don't. I don't know.
Don't record in 4K, Grant.
What?
Just
the way we edit.
There's no way we're going to be able to swap files around to edit 4K. And I will tell you now, it won't happen because no one's going to do it for you. So unless you're doing it,
my computer can't
you're at a
handle it.
loss.
So you're saying I need to hire like hardcore editors at that point?
Well, no. Like I can do it. I just don't want to wait to download files that are 4K.
Yeah, Google Drive can't handle it.
That's fair. We would need to have like on-site people where we have on-site servers. Yeah, that would make sense.
Correct.
That's not going to happen out of this facility. That's for sure.
Like an editing rig
4K
on the...
is fine. Transferring 4K is not fine.
That's fair. Yeah, and I can't just like mail, like I literally like I have it sitting because this is what I was using for my phone. It's a 256 gig SATA SSD with an OTG cable, so I can plug it directly into my phone. But then I'm like, wait a minute, I have a Pixel. Upload to Google Drive right from the phone. It's so much easier. But yeah, no, I understand. We currently use Google Drive because it's convenient. But we are looking at standing up a server. The problem is my internet is not very fast, so we got that problem to deal with too. But yes, if you're looking and saying, I think this stuff's pretty cool, I just don't know how I would use it, look around you, look at the people in your life, whether that's friends or family, and look if you think they could use it too. Look at, I'm making some KitchenAid adapters for the Better 3/4. She has a 5-quart. It's the lift head, not the lift bowl, but the lift head KitchenAid stand mixer. And the accessories kind of suck to store because they're all bulky. There's no racks for them. So I'm making a rack that we can like screw to the bottom of one of our shelves, and they just go in and they clip just like they would for a KitchenAid. So instead of them just being strewn apart, so when I take something out, I'm just like, it's like a wave of KitchenAid accessories hitting me in the head. It's all there and organized. That's
Grant's that frustrated white man in black and white in the Tupperware commercial who just can't get anything right. Oh,
there's
gosh.
a subreddit for this. What's the subreddit? Crap. Damn it. It's something to do with soda, right?
I don't know the Reddit.
It's the subreddit for infomercials. Where did the soda go? That's what it is. Where did the soda go? That is, it's infomercials out of context is what that subreddit is for.
Very good.
Yeah, where did the soda go? I'm like, I know it's got something to do with the soda. Anyways, yeah, we can't tell you what your why is, and I think that's probably the most frustrating thing for me. When we realized we missed it, part of me wanted to pull the videos, re-record them, re-edit them, and repost them, because I think like a real like hardcore content creator would have done that. We opted not to do that because I think this is more real, right? We could have pulled the videos, redone them, would have been so much friggin' work, would have cost me a bunch more money, but you know, that would have been how like a Linus Tech Tips would have done it. Although they probably wouldn't have made that mistake in the first place because they have writers and it's not just Grant. That's a difference too. So please don't compare us to Linus Tech Tips. We're not gonna win that. You can compare us to other small makers, and I think that's good. It keeps us accountable, keeps us honest, keeps them honest too. But yeah, we can't immediately answer that why. I think we can give you reasons for our why. For me, I guess I never really went over my why. My why is because I've always been like an intrinsic inventor, always wanted to invent things, and the ability to take an idea out of my head and put it in my hands and then test it was very, very important. And when I was a younger kid, like I was 18 when 3D printing hit like available. It's 2008 because I'm 31. I'm 10 years older than whatever the year is. Easy way to figure out how old I am. But
that's really convenient.
Yeah, and I was born in January, so it's basically good except for the first X amount of days in January. I'm not going to give that much out about me. But it was all about putting that stuff in my hands, and as a young kid, I can't afford going to, you know, a CNC machine shop, paying thousands of dollars, or, you know, building it out of Lego can only get me so far. Building it out of wood can only get me so far. I didn't know how to weld. I still don't know how to weld. I want to learn how to weld. All of that stuff stopped me from doing it. And then 3D printing's like, oh, hey, we hear you like making stuff, so we're going to help you make stuff so you can make more of us so we can make stuff while you make stuff and stuff. And that is kind of the cool thing about 3D printing. You can viably 3D print a 3D printer, except a few key things. And I think that's pretty dope. I mean, you know, you're able to make your own add-ons, right? The printer videos, in all of them, you are able to actively figure out upgrades. Even the Prusas, which ostensibly out of the box work amazing. They're perfect machines. By and large, out of the box. We add some quality of life things. Instead of having to put the Z-axis in from the bottom, we have different Z-axis, the Z-screw holders. So we can just slide everything in rather than pushing it up through the bottom. It does not affect the printing quality, it just makes the assembly a lot easier. And if you are looking to buy a Mark III's, let me know. I'll post all the links that we use in the comments. So comment and let us know. And if you do, I will post the links to all the stuff that we print for our Prusas. And if you wanted to get that printed, we'll make a, I don't know, like a special YouTube code or something to give people some money off of getting that done. Because if you don't have a 3D printer, you have to buy it, assemble it, print the upgrade parts, disassemble it, fix it, and at that point, it's not worth upgrading. It's like, it's a good for a second machine. But especially on Ender 3s and the CR10s, FDM printers, the cheaper ones, definitely benefit from 3D printed upgrades. So yeah, if you're looking for something that is able to produce cosplay props, is able to produce you know, storage systems, because someone pointed out storage is not all that great, and you know, a lot of crafters have, you know, a very tiny desk at best, similar to what you have, Justin. You have a very tiny desk at best. If you are able to better organize everything in and around that desk, you can make room for something else. The cool thing about a 3D printer, you can move it if it's a Prusa. I don't know if you can easily move Enders or Creality printers because they don't auto bed level. You can move auto bed leveling printers. They don't generally care about being moved because they'll just auto level themselves. But printers without auto leveling, if you move them, you have to re-level it every single time. And that is a bit of a frustration for me. Nonetheless, though, gents, any final words? I think we've kind of covered it. We really need to do a pricing your product video, like hardcore. We touched on it a little bit, but that's a Grant rant. I think that's a Grant rant. Is that an appropriate Grant rant, Thomas?
Pricing your product?
All about, well, yeah, I guess.
It feels less like a rant and more just like this is how you price your product.
Well,
I guess you could call it still within the realm of
the rant could be me yelling about pricing on Etsy and that kind of thing, and how people deliberately try to be the cheapest on the market so they get all the business. Because it's not really a rant at... It's not a rant at the businesses. Because if consumers didn't want something cheap, businesses wouldn't provide it for cheap. It's a consumer problem.
That's a whole thing to get into. Might as well. Just do it.
If you all would like to see that, comment below and let us know. What's the question for this? You know what? I think this is going to make sense. So if you're watching this, you've gotten this far, let us know how we did. Let us know if there's still some questions that you have. If there are, let us know, because that's how we get this conversation going. So if you figure out a why, let us know what your why is in the comments. If you still have questions, ask them. This is not a one-way street. We're not producing content just so I can hear myself talk, even though that is kind of fun. We want to produce content that you want to listen to and watch as well. So hopefully you all have either enjoyed the live stream or will enjoy the live stream. Please, 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 please show up to it, because if like 3 people show up, I'm not going to be enthused to do them again, because it is like going to be 2 hours of my day and I got a lot of crap to do. But this is really all for you guys. We want to, because I can film a video all about 3D modeling, and we will. But I think having that live stream is very important, because the video is going to be like 10 minutes. The live stream is going to be like an hour and a half to 2 hours. So, anyways, I'm good. Thomas, you're good?
Yep.
Justin, you're good?
Yep.
All right. Gentlemen, ladies, and all those out there watching in the space of making awesome, stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones, and as always, keep making awesome. Have a good one. Ooh.
Bye.
Ooh, I'm going to add it right at the end.
No.
I did a thing at a school, and I didn't know how to, like, say goodbye as they were changing classes, so I just did my normal, because it's just what feels natural, right?
Oh,
Don't
no.
forget to call your loved ones, keep making awesome, and have a good one. And it hit so well. I have never had, like, so many kids just, like, he said, yeah, and I got, like, a big round of applause that I was definitely not getting as they were walking out. The second class was much better, but anyways, irrelevant. End of the thing, because we're going to do that now. We're going to have bloopers and crap at the end. So anyways, take care, everybody. Chapter 32, 3D printing, the why and the what for. Hopefully we did a good job. Let us know in the comments. See ya.